in Colossians 1:15. Yeshua is the first begotten from the dead in Revelations 1:5. Yeshua is the firstborn of many brethren in Romans 8:29. Yeshua is the first fruits of the resurrected ones in 1 Corinthians 15:20 and 23. Yeshua is the beginning of creation of Yahweh in Revelations 3:14. And Yeshua is the first in supremacy in Colossians 1:18. Now, firstfruits is prophetic of the resurrection of Messiah. The festival of the firstfruits is prophetic of the resurrection. King Messiah Yeshua prophesied that he would rise 3 days and 3 nights after he was slain on the tree. Altogether, then some of the Pharisees and rabbis of the Torah said to him, "Rabbi, we want to see a sign from you." He answered, "A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." It is physically impossible for Messiah, Yeshua, to have been crucified on Friday and been resurrected on Sunday morning and fulfill the sign of Jonah. Messiah, Yeshua, could not have been placed in the tomb until Friday at dark, and that would have him spending only 1 complete evening and 1 day in the tomb. That's a day and a half. If the Christian rendering is true, then Rabbi Yeshua ben Yosef ben Nazareth is not the Messiah. This is how important the understanding of events is. The requirement was to spend 3 days and 3 nights in the earth. This could only have happened with a Wednesday crucifixion. This was foreshadowed to happen in the Tanakh by types and shadows. Altogether, Elohim said, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he carried the fire and the knife. By faith, Abraham, when he was tested, offered up Isaac, and he who had received the promise offered up his only begotten son, of whom it is said, "In Isaac your seed shall be called," concluding that Yahweh was able to raise him up even from the dead, from which he also received him as a perfect type. Altogether, the Elohim of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to Yahweh our Elohim, or he may strike us with plagues or with a sword. If you listen carefully to Yahweh your Elohim and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all of his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh, he who heals you. Therefore, altogether, do not let anyone judge you by what you eat or drink, or with regard to a religious festival, a new moon celebration, or a Sabbath day. These are the things that are to come. The reality, however, is in Messiah. Amen. So why was Yeshua buried in Joseph's tomb? Altogether, he made his grave with the wicked, but with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was any deceit found in his mouth. Now there was a man named Joseph, a member of the council, a good and upright man, who had not consented to their decision and action. He came from the Judean town of Arimathea, and he himself was waiting for the kingdom of Yahweh. Arimathea was another name for Ramah, where Samuel dwelt. In the book of Genesis, Joseph, the son of Jacob, made the children of Israel take a vow that when they went to the promised land, they would carry his bones with them, in Genesis 50:24 through 26. Because Ramah means high place, as a place of illicit worship, Egypt is sometimes referred to as Ramah. In fact, Joseph is often referred to as Joseph of Ramah. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him when he and the children of Israel journeyed to Sukkot in Exodus 13:19 through 20. Therefore, Joseph's tomb in Egypt was empty. The empty tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, which stood for wickedness, which was fulfilled in Isaiah 53 and 9. Altogether, now when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea, named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Yeshua. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in a new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb and departed. Now, we need to understand this festival and this ceremony. The celebration of first fruits was carried out like this. When the standing ripe harvest of barley was ready to be reaped, the celebrant would take one sheaf from the standing harvest and bring it to the priest. The lone sheaf was called the sheaf of the first fruits. The priest was then to take one sheaf and wave it before Yahweh in his house. This was to be done the day after the Sabbath. Prescribed offerings were also to be presented along with the sheaf. Now there is a controversy concerning the Feast of First Fruits. In the Torah it says, on the day after the Sabbath, you are to celebrate the Feast of First Fruits. Some say, since the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which begins on the 15th of Aviv, is a high Sabbath, or a Shabbaton, that is the Sabbath it's talking about being one day removed from. Others say it's talking about the day after the weekly Sabbath, so it'd be one day from that weekly Sabbath, which is the first day or Sunday. Yeshua settled the question when he rose at Havdalah at the close of the Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath. He was not discovered until the morning of the Feast of First Fruits at the time of the wave offering. Altogether, he shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted on your behalf. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. When you come into the land which I give to you and reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. He shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted on your behalf. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it, and you shall offer on that day, when you have waved the sheaf, a male lamb of the first year, without blemish, as a burnt offering to Yahweh. Its grain offering shall be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, an offering made by fire to Yahweh for a sweet aroma. And its drink offering shall be of wine, 1/4 a hin. And you shall eat neither bread nor parched grain nor fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Elohim. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in your dwellings, says Leviticus 23, 9 through 14. This wave offering also included other offerings. A meal offering of barley accompanied with unleavened bread and wine. The he-lamb, of course, was Messiah, Yeshua. Out of the wave offering, the priests were given a portion. And the priest shall take one male lamb and offer it as a trespass offering and the log of oil, and wave them as a wave offering before Yahweh. Then he shall kill the lamb in the place where he kills the sin offering and the burnt offering in a holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest, so is the trespass offering. It is most holy. The priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it into the palm of his own hand. When the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil, that is on the left hand, and shall sprinkle some of the oil with his finger 7 times before Yahweh, and the rest of the oil in his hand. The priest shall put some on the tip of his right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on the blood of the trespass offering. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put on the head of him who is to be cleansed, so the priest shall make atonement for him before Yahweh. Then the priest shall offer the sin offering and make atonement for him who is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. After he shall kill the burnt offering, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the grain offering on the altar. So the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be cleansed. The text explains in a nutshell what the sacrifice of Messiah is all about. He cleansed us once and for all. Messiah's blood was symbolically on the ear from the crown of thorns, and on his thumb and big toe from the nails of the crucifixion. From this point, the elect were empowered as priests to intercede for Israel. When we say that Messiah atoned for us, this is the form and fulfillment of the sacrifice and system in which he atoned. This offering was done in order to cleanse by blood the individuals in Israel, and it was the role of the high priest through the sacrifice to cleanse each individual. Messiah fulfilled this sacrifice with his own blood. So you see, this sacrifice isn't just a fire escape to save you from hell. This sacrifice was a cleansing so that you could take your rightful place as the priest of Yahweh. You're all Zadokite priests in Yahweh if you've been purchased and washed clean by the blood. Altogether, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement